Second Cup is brought to you by Roswell Park Comprehensive Care Center.
Good morning on this Wednesday. Shout out. Everyone's favorite duo is back.
Oh, what a day. What a day.
Feeling like Wednesday.
You're all
Quick
right.
turnaround for me. I'm trying my best. Trying not to die.
You sound a little
I don't know what's going on with me,
stuffy.
man. I'm trying my best.
All right.
Are you judging me?
Why would I judge you?
I don't know.
That was concern. All the cubbies heard it.
No, I'm okay. Just trying to survive. Long night last night at the debate.
Yep.
Not a lot of
We'll get
sleep.
into
Woke up
that.
this morning. So my body's still trying to, I think, adjust to being awake. I was away for a couple days. Shout out Sarah. Saw pictures from my trip. Thank you for tuning in.
Are you taking a multivitamin every day?
I am.
A gummy one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you taking a gummy one?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I started doing that a couple months ago.
Who's taking the chewables or the pills or anything?
Well, I mean, the Flintstones ones were pretty good.
The chewables?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, those were terrible.
You didn't like that?
They were chalky and gross.
All right. Well, you're getting support.
My dad's supporting me. He has to. Jeanette's supporting me though. She watched the debate last night. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I will say we did a lot of work heading into the debate to try to make sure that we had everyone covered. I mean, 5 candidates, a lot of people, right, on a bunch of podiums and a bunch of topics. So we tried to make sure that everybody had their voice heard. And then, obviously, most importantly, for you who are going to be voting in 6 days, next Tuesday, you really want to know exactly what these people stand for, what these candidates want for you. So that was the goal of the debate last night. So hopefully you got to tune in a little bit. If you did miss it, it is on WKBW.com. in full. It's also on our YouTube page. You can watch the full stream. It was good. It was a good conversation, I think.
Jordan, if you can do me a favor, I think you're in here. If you can just drop a link in the comments, that would be great. We appreciate
It
it.
says I need liquid echinacea.
I don't know what that is.
Is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm. I
Shout
don't know.
out.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google
No
it.
clue at all.
Used to play with the Flintstones vitamins.
I don't know what that means. Like you'd have them fight? I don't even remember what the shapes
I mean,
were.
they're better as toys than they were. I think they were in the shapes of the characters, right?
I don't know. Let me see here.
Echinacea is a
Flintstones.
flower.
Flintstones vitamins. Are these even still a thing?
I don't know. They definitely do. What's it called?
They were in the shape of the characters.
Flintstones.
These things were big.
Why were the Flintstones vitamins?
That was a big show growing up, wasn't it?
Sure, I guess.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why are the Flintstones on Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles?
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, brand recognition.
Huge. Oh, Jordan put it in there.
Yes, thank you, Jordan. Here it is.
Sherry's going to watch the replay. When you have time today, maybe you want to just go through. We covered a bunch of different topics. So we talked about finances in the city, obviously. We talked about public safety. We talked about development downtown on the east side. We talked about quality of life issues, especially their snow plan. And we talked about, there's one more. Oh, their experience and kind of their background.
So walk us through what that was like.
The debate?
Yeah, being a part of the debate.
Oh, man, it was intense. So we showed up early, obviously, and there were a couple of crews out there, tailgating, prepping for the debate, some of the
Nice.
campaigns. I mean, we're talking music that was loud, signs going wild.
Any table smashing?
I didn't go outside to see.
Okay,
I was
all right.
inside. It was the calm before the storm inside, kind of prepping, stressing. But they were out there maybe smashing tables. Just the whole pomp and circumstance of it all. I mean, you've probably seen the lawn signs are everywhere now.
Yeah.
You can't make
yeah.
a turn in Buffalo without seeing Scanlon, Sean Ryan, Whitfield's, Tyson Thompson, or Wyatt sign somewhere. So it was interesting, leading up to it. We were trying to make sure that, everyone had their water, everyone had their assignments. And then we randomly pulled the places on the podium so they wouldn't say that it was biased or anything like that. And then we just kind of got after it. We had a live audience, which was interesting too. I had never done a debate with a live audience. So you had the clapping and some booing and some jeering from the crowd. So that was interesting to see. And then you kind of saw a little bit of got a little testy, Anita. As far as earth shaking, I'm not sure there's anything earth shaking. That doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it, because I think there was still a lot of good points to be pulled from the debate. But you did see them kind of chipping back and forth at each other, especially when it came to that snow plan. So Wyatt and Scanlon going after it a little bit.
And you heard that this morning, which was very interesting.
Yeah, that's what Jeanette says. A little heated at the end. I was worried it was like boring towards the beginning, but then it really kind of came out towards the end. Garnell really made some strong points and was like, look, your finger's been on the pulse. You've been doing this, but I'm a different person. They were really trying to separate themselves from each other, right? So to be like, I'm the guy that you need to vote for, and here's the reason why. Peter says, did you option the mics off to cut the mic off when it got out of hand? So only the person that the question was directed to had their microphone on. So the goal was that you wouldn't have to, it wouldn't give the other person a chance to go back and forth, but you could still hear them because they're right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the goal, right? Is to try to make sure it didn't get out of hand. But it did. You had a little bit of a back and forth there.
What was your favorite part? And least favorite part?
Least favorite part? I don't even know.
Waking up this morning?
Yeah, probably. Leaving and then turning around to come back here. Favorite part? I don't know. I liked being in the action and getting to it and asking the questions and having all the back and forth. I thought it was well done. So kudos to our team for getting the job done really well. We had a strong support system. I just ate the microphone. Did you see that? That was rough. We had a strong support system, strong team, everyone getting us. Oh, also, they had the bar open afterwards, and they did a little happy hour.
Oh.
I was like, okay.
All
now
right.
it's getting a little wild here.
Now we know why your voice is raspy.
No.
Yep.
I wish. Anita says, does Scanlon have Palladino backing him or not? I watch the commercials, but I don't necessarily believe them. So, yeah, that was another thing. So Scanlon stood up and said, the state senator is going to lie about me for the next week, and I think it's just it's a misunderstanding. It's a kind of skewing of the view here. So Carl Palladino has a son, Billy Palladino, and Billy Palladino is a developer in Buffalo. That's the person that's contributing to Scanlon's campaign. And Sean Ryan has said, look, this is Palladino money. Whether it's Billy or Carl, it's Palladino money. So it's MAGA backed. You've seen a lot of those commercials. And Scanlon stood up yesterday and was like, look, you're lying about me. He's going to continue to lie about me. And some of the campaign has gotten disrespectful. And that's how some of that got up. But yeah, this is what it looked like for Scanlon's crew. Really was out there in full force, signs and music and partying and all that fun stuff.
Was there anyone that you feel like stood out, or maybe, I don't want to say close the gap, but kind of shined when you weren't expecting them to?
I think especially the people that we saw on Second Cup, it was interesting to watch them grow. So you saw that first debate. And we had Sean Ryan on before. We had Garnell. We had Rashid Wyatt on before. And a lot of the same questions that Ed and I asked on Second Cup of Garnell and Rashid Wyatt, it seemed like more developed answers this time than when we asked them on Second Cup. So I think that there was a little bit of growth there from those two candidates. It seems like Scanlon has been pretty much staying the course. He's had the same messaging throughout. He's, definitely added a couple of different things there. Obviously, he's acting mayor, so we can say, hey, this is what we're doing right now as a city. And then you have Sean Ryan, who's, I think, stayed the course as well. He's really doubled down on the Palladino situation and talked more about, making Buffalo better. I thought one chippy part was Sean Ryan was like, we have to make Buffalo better. And Garnell was like, is that our standard? Better? Not excellent, not great, not the best. We just want to be better? I was like, ooh, that was tea.
I mean, you do have to start somewhere, though.
I know. I mean, I'll take better for now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I think he was like, well, the bar is low if we're talking about better. We want to be better than better. I don't know. Anita says, that makes sense. Scanlon seems to be keeping his cool, but why did he not appear on Second Cup? And that's a good question, too. We asked him multiple times to join us on Second Cup. We saw the other candidates join us. We love being able to have this conversation and to share everyone's voice, but it would have been great to be able to hear from Scanlon in this forum, too, and to be able to have those discussions. So we will see. Let's see. Howard says, as an outsider from the city, it appears you really only have two choices, Scanlon and Ryan. The others don't seem as into it or as qualified. You definitely see more, you really are only seeing those TV ads from Scanlon and Ryan, and you're seeing more of those lawn signs from Scanlon and Ryan. So it does, and in those past debates, they seem to kind of chip at each other and go head to head. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out once we get to Tuesday, which is, what is this? We're getting some props?
Oh, if I was near the soundboard, I'd play the applause, but I can't do that. I can't be in
Thanks
two
to
places
Aaron
at
for the
once.
kudos. Taylor, Michael, Eileen, Bob McCarthy, Justin Sondell from the Buffalo News. Our entire crew did a wonderful job. Michelle, Dave, Joe, Kevin, Garrett, everyone really put in a lot of work to make sure, Shannon, that it went well. And it did go well. I thought we had great questions. Shout out to everyone who watched last night and who contributed to the viewer questions that Eileen put together for everyone. So it was good. And Anita says, I think Second Cup is a great cross section of the Buffalo area, right? So you get people who live in the southern tier, you get people who live in the city, you get people in Niagara County, and you get people, who have different opinions. There was someone who came up to me afterward and she was like, look, I don't even live in the city, but I try to mobilize people so that they know exactly what's going on. And she said that, she really enjoyed our format, which was validating and good to hear.
Yeah.
But it's good to see people be engaged too. Those early voting numbers are really big. I mean, we're talking about a primary election. It's the summertime. We're talking about early voting and the days leading up to the actual election. We've already seen 4,600 votes.
Yep.
Big deal.
Yep.
Interesting. Are you gonna, or you didn't early vote? You don't do anything early.
No, I did not early vote yet. Can you early
There's
vote?
no way you're early voting.
Excuse me. What? Why?
Some people like to get things done before the deadline, John.
You become a whole different person as you grow. Who knows what happens next week?
That was deep.
Thank you. Yep. Take that to the bank, cuppies.
That's huge. James says the question that he wants to ask everyone for mayor is, why do they want the job? Honestly,
That's
great question.
fair. Yeah.
Another thing that someone in the crowd wanted to know is, what exactly is their plan for the first 100 days? I thought that was a good question too, and something we can definitely ask the candidates over the next 6 days, because they'll still be out and about trying to, get your vote. And I think that'll be a big one as well. What are you going to do immediately? What's the first thing you're going to do? What's your top priority? What are you going to change? Anita says, I don't live in the city, but I realize how much I'm in the city and how it affects me. Exactly. So if you go to Bison's game, if you go to Sabres games, if you're at KeyBank for anything, if you were ever in the city at all, Shays, anything like that, obviously everything that happens with the politics impacts a lot of us. So it is interesting to see it all play out. Let's see. Ashley says, if that's the case, then wouldn't Scanlon be equally unqualified? He was a councilman who actively voted on matters that directly affect the city and its current budgetary crisis. Anyone can come in and change the narrative when given the budget and control to do so. I think she's replying to what possibly Howard said about there being only two candidates, or about not everyone being necessarily qualified or as into it as far as the job for mayor goes. I don't know. It's hard to say that anyone is unqualified for this. Everyone has a past position in public service. You have Garnell, who is a former fire commissioner. You have Anthony Tyson Thompson, who's a community activist. He worked with Crystal People Stokes. And then you have Scanlon and Wyatt, who were on the council. And now you have Scanlon, who's currently the acting mayor, and then Sean Ryan, who also is a state senator. So everyone has some kind of experience when it comes to dealing with politics. So it'll be interesting to see if they can change the narrative and what they'll do.
And all in leadership roles as well. So that's big. The most important thing for the city of Buffalo is, regardless of who gets in, that the leadership changes, because the city in itself does need to get better, just in general. And that's really all that matters, is that the city improves.
I mean, it's a big undertaking, right? You're trying to transform the budget. You're trying to make sure that people are safe, but you're also trying to grow the city at the same time as you're also dealing with a fiscal crisis. So I don't envy any of these guys who are going after this job, after this position, but you do want to see someone who's able to take control. And Nick asked the question, can a mayor affect change, or is this machine too big? And Nick, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing your voice. That's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. And I think that this next administration will be telling, in that, we've had Byron Brown for so long. We've had, Chris Scanlon for the past 8 months.
Right.
So, what happens in the next couple of years is going to show, can you affect change in the office of mayor?
And another thing that's interesting is to see what happens after Tuesday.
Right.
Because we saw former Mayor Byron Brown not win the nomination and then still end up being the mayor because of a write-in. So if you have a candidate that is really vying for City Hall, it would be interesting to see if they step back and support the candidate, or if they continue on and try to still secure their spot.
We know that Scanlon and Whitfield have filed for independent tickets as well, so they could still be on the ballot come November as independents. So we'll see kind of how that looks. And then do we just have a repeat of this where we just see, sort of the same faces plus a couple others running for mayor in November?
It's going to be interesting. That's for
We'll
sure.
have to see. Valentine says, I'm not from here, but Scanlon got feet on the ground. I've seen him the most in the community, and that has definitely made some changes. It was like night and day when he came in. Specifically, what do you think you've seen the most change in? Because last night he said that he made a lot of changes to the snow plan. He made a lot of changes to, he said he's patched up some of those potholes. Snow plan. That back and forth was crazy. That was Wyatt and Scanlon going after each other on the snow plan, the quality of life issues. Lynn says, what about someone who hasn't been in this kind of position before? They might be open to different types of change without being influenced by the side telling them what to do, which is a great
another
point.
good point. Yeah.
But then you have people who don't necessarily trust people who don't have that experience because, you get into the office and even though you have a different perspective, if you're not a career politician, sometimes being a politician helps you, schmooze this person or, you have those built-in relationships. And I'm not saying that you have to be a career politician to win, but yeah, the kissing the babies and all that kind of stuff. So you'll have to see, what the citizens prefer. Do they want a career politician? Do they want someone who is more moderate? Do they want someone who is more left-leaning? We will have to see how that all goes. It'll be interesting. Someone commented about Anne Burrell. Anita, I'm right there with you. Very excited about Anne Burrell, such a cooking show person. Did you watch any of her shows?
No, but she was at Madison Square Garden all the time supporting the Rangers. So
Oh, was she?
yeah.
She's a big Rangers fan?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I actually don't know that because I know, especially like James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks and the Rangers in Madison Square Garden, would like pay celebrities to come to games. But I do believe that she was actually one of the legit
like
Rangers fans. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it was 55. She's so young. So it was sad to see. I used to be obsessed with the show Worst Cooks. Worst Cooks like really got me through like my entire sophomore year of college. It was so good.
Where would you rank on it?
On Worst Cooks?
Yeah. Would you do?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
At the time, I would have been one of the worst cooks, but now I think I'd survive. We've all seen me bake. What they have them do when they first walk in is like, they're like, hey, just make anything. Just go in and make anything. And people just make raw, disgusting, like worst stuff ever. And Chef Anne she was very firm, but she was very like nice about it. She always made it to the end. She won a ton of times. She was on a bunch of those cooking shows.
Was she like a Gordon Ramsay?
No, not in that kind of way. She was a tough love, but she was a softie. She was like, what the heck are you doing? What's going on here? This is the most disgusting thing I've ever had. But not like yelling at you, calling you an idiot sandwich.
Right.
It was more like, what's going on here? What are you doing? I know that you're better than this.
Right.
It was like, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed. It was like kind of energy. It was like, oh, it just kind of hit you in the heart. Marlene's asking what was her cause of death. I don't know.
That hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, they haven't released it yet. But then you hear about someone dying so young, and you're immediately like, okay, how could this happen? What's going on here? That news came in right before the debate started. I was like, oh my gosh, can't believe it happened. We'll have to wait to find out what happened. We just know she was found unresponsive in her home. And yes, she went to Canisius College too. I didn't realize she had a local connection.
And I always feel like I know someone is a big name celebrity when I get a notification on my phone that they passed. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe that. And Amber was one of them. Like, I knew who she was.
Yeah. But you weren't like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And he says, worst cooks always make me feel better about my abilities. Honestly, I'm going to miss that. Maybe I'll have to go back and watch some episodes. We said there's always a Buffalo connection. Same is true about the Stanley Cup. It's a little painful, I think, for Sabres fans when you see something like this. This guy, Sam Reinhart, hoisting. Why do they call it Lord Stanley's Cup? Who's Lord Stanley?
He was, I believe, a Canadian, like, lord.
Oh.
Or British lord.
And that's who it's named after?
Canada was part of England.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's who it's named after. So it's the original cup that Lord Stanley had, and then they just keep adding layers to it.
Oh, wow.
So, like, the original top part is
that's
the cup. And then they just keep adding, so it gets taller and taller.
Every year?
Not every year.
Oh,
once
just
they
like
go around the circle, because they etch the names into it.
Man, this
so
is
like
painful.
these rings right here, have a
see.
bunch of names engraved in them.
Now that's tough to watch.
Not for me.
It's not for you.
It's not.
Rangers aren't doing it.
Okay, well, settle down over there.
I'm just saying.
We get it. Your Lakers won a fake COVID NBA Finals.
Okay.
Relax over there. But honestly, when it comes to hockey, the Florida Panthers, and I'm sorry, Cuppies, I'm sorry, Sabres fans, the Florida Panthers are just such a fun team to watch.
Are they?
They're so much fun. They're talented. They're mean. They play solid defense. They get timely goaltending. It's exactly what you want. And here's the problem with the Sabres, and I feel like we're going to end up
You're
in
going
the
to
same
diagnose
spot.
the issues. I hope the front office is listening.
I feel like we're going to end up in the same spot with the Sabres come September when training camp opens. You have a guy like JJ Peterka. You have a guy like Bo Byram, who is young and talented. And your thought process is, well, we have to make the playoffs right now, so we got to get rid of these guys. I mean, Sam Reinhart, you got Devin Levi, who had a really good
Young King.
20 games a couple years ago and then hasn't been able to crack the NHL since. You have guys like Jack Eichel, who you trade away and then you watch him go win a Stanley Cup. You have guys like Jeff Skinner, who you bought out last offseason and then goes and signs with Edmonton and is 2 games away from winning a Stanley Cup.
There was another guy who was on the Panthers last year. Okposo, right?
Oposo was, they traded Kyle Oposo last year to the Panthers at the deadline. He goes on and wins a cup. I'm pretty sure Dmitry Kulikov, who's on the Panthers, won his second Stanley Cup. He was a Sabres player.
There's somehow always a
Evan
Sabres player, a
Rodriguez.
former Sabres player.
Evan Rodriguez, former Sabres player. You have Evander Kane, who they traded away to the Sharks, and then eventually he finds his way to Edmonton. I mean, when it comes down to it, the Sabres are there's the thought process in sports. You can trade someone too late. The Sabres trade guys too early.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. And I feel like you're in a situation with the Sabres that you're going to fall right back into we're going to give up young talent that we can build around, and then you're going to end up in the same exact spot.
But don't you need veteran help?
I mean, eventually these kids become veterans.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been 14 years, and the Sabres tried. I mean, one of the craziest things I've ever seen was getting a notification on my phone that the Sabres signed Taylor Hall 1 year for, like, he was the biggest free agent that year. I believe it was 22 or 21. I'm like, what are the Sabres doing? They brought in Eric Stahl that year also. Like, they bring in these veterans, and it doesn't really make a difference.
You're right. I mean, this guy, he knows his hockey. And he just says how you guys and everyone else remember all these stats. I feel like when you're into something and like you know hockey and you like eat, sleep, breathe hockey. So like you know all about that stuff. Obviously, when you see it here like unfold and you're right around the corner from KeyBank, it's like you pay attention, you see all these things. But something's got to give. I think every single time we come around to the Stanley Cup, we're watching someone who used to play in blue and gold hoisting the Stanley Cup over their heads, and we're just like, how could we not even end up there? Our goals can't even be the Stanley Cup yet. Our goal has to be the end of playoffs.
Just to make the playoff. And think about that. Like, we talk about the Bills all the time, right? At one point, the way that we look at the Sabres right now is how we looked at the Bills. And the only possible way for things to change is, realistically speaking, they just have to. Like, I don't think that there's a legitimate, here's an easy fix, let's go figure it out. Tage Thompson had sub 40 goals this year. Like, you don't really get that. Rasmus Dahlin is the number 1 defenseman, one of the best defensemen in the league. Like, you have the pieces in place to, at the very least, be close to making the playoffs. The Sabres really weren't even close. I think at one point when you first came over in like February-ish, we were looking at it, and the Sabres basically had to win out
in February.
From February to early April. Like, that's impossible. And it all stems from a 13-game streak. Losing streak, or 13 or 14 game losing streak.
It was 14.
I think it was 14.
I feel like every day we're like, Sabres lost another one, and at that point it was just gone. Mark says everyone thinks the Sabres will get, how do you say it? Mark
Mason Marchment. Is that who you're talking about, Mark? He could fit a role, but I don't necessarily know if that's it. I mean, you're paying money to I'm gonna throw some slander here. You're paying money to a guy like Owen Power, who is close to being. Never mind. I'm not gonna slander Owen Power. I'm sure he's trying his best, but Owen Power is getting paid $8 million per year, I believe, and he just isn't what you need him to be. I know he got hurt at the end of the year. Yeah, it's Mason Marchment. The Dallas Stars are looking to trade him in a salary cap dump, which could be a good move for the Sabres because you can get him on the cheap. He has 1 year left on his deal, I believe. But at the same time, I don't like, where does he fit? Is he going to fit in the top 6? Probably not. He might fit in the bottom 6, but you extended Zucker, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. I think the Sabres, if you're going to trade a guy like JJ Peterka or you're going to trade a guy like Bowen Byram, I think that you go and still call Dallas and see if you can get Jason Robertson. But again, then you fall back into the same situation where I believe Robertson is a year or two away from unrestricted free agency, so then he could walk. So then you trade a 23, 24-year-old winger, a 23, 24-year-old defenseman for a guy that you're going to have for a year and then maybe even have to trade at the deadline. So I don't know.
I don't know anything that you just said. I was so gone in another land for like all that.
I started to get red because I realized I was talking a lot. I
know,
was talking a lot
it was,
right there.
You were on a roll. I'm sure that other people understood exactly what you were saying. I didn't even know the Stanley Cup was over until I got in this morning.
Yeah, I stayed up and watched it. Had to. There's nothing. It's so good when they're skating around and they're lifting the cup and they're kissing it, and they just skate around the entire ice, and you just you hear them talk about it in the interview, like post game interviews, and they're like crying and getting emotional, and then I cry and get emotional.
How many people would you say are in this? Like, how many players did they retain from last year's team to this year's? Is it like all the same guys winning again?
Who?
The Panthers.
They lost a couple players, but for the most part, I mean, you have your core roster, and that's basically who they ended up keeping, and that's the difference in everything. I mean, again, I have made this case often with DJ, and he doesn't agree with me, but I think it's actually kind of worse what happens in Toronto than what's happening right here. Because
the Leafs,
yeah, because
they get so close and then.
But they made it to Game 7 this year, but for the most part, they're one round and then done. Cindy, the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup
against the Edmonton Oilers.
Against the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games, back to back.
5-1.
Stanley Cup champions. Yeah, Sam Reinhart, 4 goals. So yeah.
Anita wants to know what else you're passionate about. Hockey, Disney. Leg day.
Leg day's a big one. Also, in case anyone was wondering, I am wearing Disney stuff. So this hat says, you can't really tell. It says the Hollywood Tower Hotel, which is, do you know what that's from?
Is it like the Tower of Terror?
Yes, it is. Yep. And then on the back, it says a warm welcome back, but it's also Panthers color. So I figured wear it today. It's also a brand new hat. So
nice.
Had to bring that one.
You mean the FOB, the fresh out the box for us?
Yeah. I didn't know what that meant, but I'm glad you.
FOB.
Yeah.
Fresh out the box.
Kelly, I'm right there with you. Hey, Stanley Cup has been handed out, which means one thing: it's the Rangers' year. That's all I know.
Julie's coming.
Sports Illustrated.
Just show some leg. It'll get Johnny all the way. Anita says, "Have a
I'll be on the body issue.
The body issue, Johnny.
Yeah, I'll be on the body issue.
The Johnny with the body issue.
Just you wait.
Huge.
Just dad bod Sports Illustrated issue
on the ice.
I'll be there.
Huge. All right, guys. Thank you for being here with us. Thanks for hanging on this Wednesday. We got 2 more days this week, and then as Connie mentioned, you guys back with Katie on Monday.
Oh, thank God. No, I'm just kidding. Please stay. All right, bye.
Bye.